Good evening, everyone. How you doing? Good to see everyone. Lucas, how are you doing? A-Trail, how are you? So I'm going to apologise up front. Just getting over a bout of flu. That's why it's been a bit quiet the last couple of days. So my voice might be a bit up and down. So there might be some frequent pauses on the microphone. But I'll try and minimise it. Stace, how you doing? Christopher, good to see you. You've liked the video, excellent. Thank you, Christopher. Appreciate it. Right. So we're gonna do Tharandter Rampe or Dresden Chemnitz. That's easier to say, isn't it? Or Chemnitz. Chemnitz. That's how you pronounce it. Which is rapidly actually becoming one of my favourite German routes because I love the tilting train, the 612. So I think we're going to run the 612. So we'll go from Dresden. We'll go from the Dresden end. It's 57 minutes. It is end to end. So we'll just do that one. It should give you a good look at it. So I don't know how many of you own this route, but I can recommend it. I can say that straight away. Especially with the safety systems on. It is A-Trail, yeah, it's lovely. Good mix of city and countryside along the way as well. And there's good variety, good layers if you've got the other German routes as well. Right, so yeah, we're going all the way Dresden to Chemnitz. So let's get everything set up if I can remember. Reverser handle is good. Lights. Headlights, then what have we got over here? We don't need power, we definitely need. Compressors on, yeah, GST we do want. Let's turn the desk light up. Actually, no, we don't need that on, do we? It's full daylight. What else have we got? Those are the doors. We need the brakes, don't we? Put the brakes in. See the train tilting? I don't know if you caught that, we may have missed it. It goes for a cycle when you first switch it on, and it tilts. Right, what we got down here, that's the horn. Okay, so let's go back and put the safety systems on while passengers are getting on. So we have got GNT we'll put on because we'll be able to go the faster speeds. PZB, CFA. In fact, where's the little kiddie carriage? Let's go and have a look at that because I know we're not going to be on time. Where is that? It's going to be at the end, isn't it? Oh, this is it. I really like this, you know. The Kinderspielecker. Why are these guys sat here? There's no kids. There's the kids' play area. There's no kids. Wouldn't you just know it? Right, let's get back up front. We're obviously not going to be on time at all with this one. But that's absolutely fine. Want some windows open because if I'm recovering from the flu, we need plenty of fresh air. Right, let's get the doors closed. So this train is weird. You've got to hold the power button and then release it, and it anchors the power there. You see 40%. Same with the brakes. There's a dynamic brake on this one as well, which is quite interesting. It takes a bit in getting used to actually the dynamic brake, as it does on all the routes that have got dynamic brakes, but particularly this one. There is a normal brake as well, But in some situations it doesn't stop you. You need to use a combination of both. So just leaving Dresden, let me take the power off because we're going to be... See, there's the normal brake. So in a flat line it works, but if you're going downhill you need the dynamic brake, it doesn't work. Yeah, leaving Dresden. Atrial says adults are just older kids, so adults being the kids area. Yeah. There's an ICE there on the left. "31 kilometres to the first stop, which is in Freiburg, so it's a really nice run, this route, it really is. The German routes just keep getting better and better. It's a shame really if the German stuff isn't your thing, because it is really good. There's obviously some expertise on the dovetail side when it comes to these German routes. Right, let's increase the power a little bit because we're on the hill. This Dresden, by the way, is a slightly different time period to the other Dresden that we've got in the game. Some things are still there, like the cooling tower over there. That's in both versions, but I think this one is set slightly earlier. I hope I've got that the right way around. Slightly earlier than the one we got in the Rush Hour pack last summer. But both of those are good routes. Take a look outside. So we should get to speed up, coming up to a 70 zone. And once again, like on all these newer routes, there's a lot of static traffic around, just filling up the route, which is really nice. There's quite a lot at this end. The 143 over there. Let's speed it up. And this tilting train as well, we get to go a little bit faster than the regular traffic on this route because we tilt. It's safer for us to go around the corners a little bit faster than everybody else, so that is what the GNT is. So you'll see that as we go along. You'll see signs, for example, saying 70 kilometers per hour, but you'll see up in the top right hand corner there in the hood, just now, this is a 70 zone, but it's letting us do 80. And that's because they're tilt, it's just a bit safer. Atrial, you said you feel like the German routes are consistently the best quality in TSW, but the American routes, and to extend the British, can be hit and miss. Yeah, I would agree with you that the German stuff does tend to follow a trend, doesn't it? Right from... I must admit, when TSW first came out and we got Rapid Transit was the first German route in the game, wasn't it? If you've been playing it that long. I kind of avoided Rapid Transit. I didn't really like it. I've warmed to it now. I think the second route after that was Rösig Nord, which was really nice. I didn't buy Rösig Nord straight away because I wasn't keen on Rapid Transit, but actually it's a completely different type of thing, isn't it? And it was the first route like this where you get to visit towns and a lot of countryside along the way, and some of the landscapes are really well done as well as you're travelling through. So from that point onwards, from Rösig Nord onwards, I really enjoyed the German stuff. And Rösig Nord was a long route as well. Right, we got a 90 coming up. So I'm just increasing the power a little bit. We've got a slight uphill gradient. Hope everybody's ready for Isle of Wight next week. Isle of Wight 22, which we got to have a look at last night on Dovetail stream. That is out next Tuesday, the 19th, so I'll be streaming that at some point, just depending on how work goes. I'll be streaming that during the day on Tuesday, and certainly Tuesday night I'll be streaming it UK time. So pop in and have a look at that if you've not made your mind up yet. It did look pretty good, to be honest, last night. I did quite like it. Right, just increasing the speed. Here's the tilt. Here's where you really notice the tilt. You got Rapid Transit for free when they were giving out the Preserve Crew codes in the early days, but uninstalled it because of the audio issues of the 442. Yeah. I must admit, I'm not really a fan of the 442 in any of the routes. It's probably because of those early days playing on Rapid Transit. I'm not a massive fan of all the stop-start stuff though, in general. If the stops are too frequent, I don't enjoy it as much. I prefer a long run. You know I prefer a long run. I've said it loads of times in any game, including this one especially. This route gives you a very long run in these trains. It's a pleasure. I just hope they bring tilting trains to other routes. Because we could have the classic British APT as well. It would mean creating another historical route, but I bet people wouldn't mind that in this case, because the APT is a classic. Right, let's get the speed on. We'll go for max power, because we've got 140 coming up. Hope everybody's seen the Autobahn video from before as well. I know you did, A-Trail. That was good fun. That's just one of the occasions where the car is flown into the air. It happens quite a lot. You don't need to collide with anything very much for that to happen. So hopefully in these fixes that they've promised me, something will be done about that. But until then, I thought that would be a quite enjoyable little video. Especially with the sound effects. Right, how are we doing? 23 kilometers. We've got 110 coming up. Let's power down for that now. Oh, you're not getting the Isle of Wight because of the length of the route. Yeah, it is a short route. I quite enjoy it. I know what you mean though. If you're comparing apples with apples, and looking at some of the other routes, route length is one of your main justifications for buying a route, then yeah, it's very short. But it is a nice route though. But I totally get it. I mean, the only thing I'd say is that, of course, this new one is a lot cheaper than you would pay for a normal route. I think the original one was when it came out. I think it was slightly cheaper than a normal route. Viking Power, how you doing? Nice to see you. Viking Power says, main thing I don't like about TSW is the quality is very inconsistent. It's different, different developers, isn't it now as well? So Isle of Wight is a rivet. This route, this Dresden Chemnitz is a dovetail one. And you got West Cornwall, which I think is a nice route. That's rivet. And then you've got a couple of the American ones, or Skyhook. So Cane Creek and Sherman Hill. But you're right. Some are longer than others, some are very short, but the price is kind of the same normally. Right, let's get the speed down because we've got a 60 coming up. I think we might struggle to hit it. I think the thing about the DLCs is that you know, just buy what you're interested in. There's no need to buy everything, is there? I started off pretty much buying everything because I enjoyed the game that much. I started buying everything, but then I soon realised it's going to be an expensive, you know, it's going to be a really expensive hobby. Then of course there's always sales that come up. Now normally, I don't know this for a fact, but normally when the summer release comes out, there is a sale around that time. On consoles there is. So, you know, some of the older stuff may well be on sale quite soon. So if you've got something that, if there's something you haven't got yet that you're keeping your eye on, it might be worth hanging out for a few weeks and just seeing what happens. Yeah, if you're not worried about playing it right away, then you know you can get some quite good deals if you prefer to wait. But this one, no, this one's really nice. I do like this one. So many different layers. The freight on this is good as well. So you can do all this run in a freight train and go A to B just in one run, which is quite nice. So we've got a bit of an incline. It's rising, and we are going down to a 60 quite soon, so let me acknowledge that board. Take some power off. Actually don't have the gauge lights on, let's put those on. So bringing it down to 60. Some power back on. I don't think I've come across that that bug A-Trail with the M7. I don't remember. It's been a long time since I played Long Island. Is that on all platforms as well, that A-Trail, or is that on a certain console, for example? Because usually if it's something that affects everybody, it's usually fixed quite quickly. Unless it's just a complicated one to fix, I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with that one. Oh, it's the alright, it's the propulsion. Yeah, I probably have heard that then. See, because I don't know that train particularly well, I've probably put that down to the fact that it's running over brakes in the rails or something. So the power's cut off whilst it does that. So yeah, because you're from that area, aren't you, A-Trail? So you travelled on those quite a bit. I have travelled on one, well, twice. I went from, I think I went from New York to Hartsdale, which is that's the Harlem line, isn't it? And I think that was on an M7. Oh, you've travelled on this route, Viking. Nice. Hey Stephen, how you doing? Nice to see you. How are you doing? This is the steep part. 2.5% incline. That's good, Stephen. Yeah. I'm getting better. I've had the flu, so I'm kind of just recovering now. Tickets on the MTA, Metro North and LIRR are expensive. I can't remember. It's a few years ago when I went. I went from Grand Central to Hartsdale. I was actually going to Ferncliff, was where I was going, but I got the train to Hartsdale, as I recall, and then got a taxi from there. But like all things, you know, I didn't pay that much attention to it at the time. I never thought I'd actually be driving on that route in a game a few years later, you know. Else I would have really paid more attention. Right, let's get this speed up because we're slipping on this hill now. We're not going to make Freiburg, I don't think, for 13:30, but we'll get as near to it as we can. Because we did have a wander down the train just before we set off. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, everybody, if you don't mind. That will help me out a lot. Thank you for that. The other thing I like about this tilting train is, well, I love the sound in the cab. It feels like it's got some grunt, this. Feels solid, you know. I think that's the other good thing as well, isn't it, about the German routes, is that it seems that the sounds seem to be easier to obtain. The actual sounds. I know Dovetail have got a lot of contacts over in Germany that help out with that sort of thing. I think the only one we need fixed is the 187. Because the 187 needs a bit of work, doesn't it? And doesn't have its own sounds at the moment. So hopefully that one's being fixed quite soon. I don't think the PZB really works on that at the moment either, so that's a shame. Last time I used it, it was it was emergency braking me for no reason at all, so I've kind of left it alone for now. But it's, I mean, it's a nice engine on a freight run. So once it's fixed, it'll run really nicely. But again, I think that's a skyhook one, that's not a dovetail one. Right, we've come over the hill, so we've a chance to speed up. Have you ever been on a German train? No, I haven't actually, no. Which is strange, really. I spent quite a lot of time in Berlin, but been on the tram system, but I've not been on the trains, unfortunately. No. Okay, so now we're really speeding along quite nicely. Once you get up to these speeds, you really see the benefit of this tilt. It's really nice to drive. If you haven't got this route, honestly, I recommend it just for the tilted train. It's a completely different experience to the other stuff we've got. See, there it goes, tilting left. Right, we've got 100 coming up in 2.2, so we're okay for now. Just put a little bit of brake in. Yeah, so the speed board there showed we were coming into a 90 zone. But because we're a tilting train, we can go 10 kilometers per hour extra, so it's only 100 for us. Everything else would be doing 90 once they get to this next speed board. We're slightly over, let's bring it down. Still 6.2 to Freiburg. The other thing I always say about these German routes as well is that if you do teach yourself PZB and the safety systems, there's so much more to do on these routes. They feel better value because you have to be more in control. The British safety systems, the American ones, are quite easy to use. Well, I mean, the ACES system in the US is a little bit more complicated, but the British safety systems are quite easy to use, aren't they? But the German ones are interesting, especially different speeds for different weights of trains. Makes it very interesting. So if you do teach yourself that, then you give yourself a lot more to do, and it's so much more immersive. The only problem is you don't spend a lot of time out of the cab, because you constantly watch the trackside signs, like this one coming up right now, which we need to acknowledge. It's a 70, but we've got an 80. Trackside signs, signals, So much to look for. But once you've put the safety systems on, it's very, very difficult then to run a German train without them on. It feels like you're cheating, you know. But you have to work every run that you do. You have to work, so it's for me anyway. It's much better. So we'll just observe this 80. Take the brakes off. Hey Black Arrow, how you doing? Nice to see you. This is a very nice route, Black Arrow, yeah, you're right. I love these chimneys as well, look at these chimneys. I must look this up, it must be some sort of factory. I have no knowledge of this area in real life whatsoever. I should check it out really. But yeah, some kind of, no doubt a manufacturing type place. .2 outside Freiburg. The rocks are a nice variety also on the Great Ridge. Yeah, these rocks actually, I wonder how much work it takes to model these rocks. There's a nice mix there of rocks, grass, trees. You're right, Black Arrow, yeah, because you quite often miss that kind of detail. Which is why, you know, when the collectibles are a thing, when there's a trophy for collectibles, rather than just hop out of the train and try and get them, I try to, I cheat in a way because I go for a guide. But what that allows me to do is pretty much walk the full length of the route. So I've said that on other streams as well, is that it's a really good way to learn the route and appreciate some of the detail as well that you don't always see when you're flashing past at 140 kilometers per hour, you know. A little bit more power in. We're already late, but we don't want to be massively late. DTG seem to just like to make commuter rail countryside routes. Metro sub-routes too complex. Yeah, I don't know the answer to that. A-Trail, to be honest. I guess there's various things, isn't there, that factor into that. You know, based on their research, they'll kind of know as well how popular different routes are going to be from a sales perspective. So they've always got probably one eye on that as well. I don't think we'll ever find out, you know, properly how these routes come about. But I know they do listen to a lot of suggestions, so keep mentioning it. You know, if enough people mention it, then you know, I'm sure they'll bring one eventually. There's the G6 shunter, look, which also appears on this route. That's a DLC in its own right, but if you own that, it will appear on this route. I think it's native to, I'm going to get it wrong now, I think Rhine-Ruhr-Osten is the DLC it's attached to, I think. But there are some services, there are some timetable services in this route, so it's not just substituting, it does actually have services. Right, now let's try and stop, shall we? Let's put the other brake in. Everybody's jumping off the train, look. Yeah, the G6 is very nice. You know, I've not actually run it very much. I need to do that. I have run it on this route. There are some quite nice little services on this route for it. Alright, let's carry on. Floha, or Floa is next. 20 kilometres. So we'll go max power on this one. You can see the acceleration then, which is pretty swift to be honest. So this is just a 2-car unit. I think you can switch between a 2 and a 4 car on this. It might even be a 6. In the timetable, just choose which one you want with the livery button when you choose the 612, and you get the choice between this and the longer version.